board meeting of Monday, May 5th, 2025 at 5:45 p.m. Is there anyone besides LakeCAM recording this meeting? Do you usually announce yourself? I can't remember if we do the announce if you're recording.
I can announce myself.
Please.
Yeah, my name's Ethan Hahn.
Thank you very much. And you're recording for?
The Mascot Week.
Thank you very much. All right. Now we are going to call the board to order with a vote, because I just like it. We're going to start over here.
Okay.
Candido, aye.
Carboni, aye.
Hunt, aye.
And the ayes have it. Pledge of Allegiance. Over to the corner. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, welcome everybody. Agenda item number 2 is the select board announcements today. In honor of Professional Municipal Clerks Week, Lillian Drain, Town Clerk, who's hosting Coffee with Our Clerk, May 7th from 9 to 10 a.m. at the Town Hall, May 8th from 9 to 10 a.m. at the police station. This is an opportunity for residents to get to know a little bit more about her office, and ask any questions that you have. The Lakeville Arts Council is holding a pop-up concert May 10th, 5 to 7 p.m. at the Townhouse, 2 Precinct Street, on center stage to celebrate spring and the completed build of the pavilion over center stage. The Catnip Junkies specialize in New Orleans jazz, swing, and brass band sounds. Bring a picnic dinner and join us. The Traveling Spirit will be there with their mocktails to quench your thirst. The Park Commission is holding a Lakeville Day at Ted Williams Camp May 18th from 11 to 3 p.m. 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Come see your friends and meet your neighbors. Try your hand at games, arts, crafts, and food. They will all be available at Loon Pond Lodge. You can engage with local businesses, organizations, crafters, and artisans. There will be live music also. If you'd like to be part of Lakeville Day, reach out to Melissa Turcott at mmmsturco1@gmail.com. Clear Pond is hiring lifeguards for Clear Pond Park for this season, starting June 25th through August 23rd. Applicants must be at least 16 years old and have their lifeguard certification. They're also hiring for Clear Pond attendants, both full and part-time. For more information, visit the Town of Lakeville Facebook page or the website at www.lakevillema.org and find it under the Find It Fast tab, Job Openings. The Select Board is looking for 3 at-large members of the public to serve on the Town Hall Building Reuse Subcommittee. Details on these positions can be found at the town's Facebook page or on the town's website. Other commission vacancies: 1 at-large member for the Communications Committee, 1 associate member from the ZBA, 1 Board of Registrars member, 2 vacancies on the Cable TV Advisory Committee, 1 vacancy on the Conservation Commission, and 1 vacancy on the Agricultural Commission. The annual town meeting will be held June 9th, 7 p.m. at Apponequet High School. Does anyone else have any announcements they'd like to add in?
No, just the special town meeting will be also held on June 9th, and that'll begin at 6:30.
Thank you. Andrew, Town Administrator's Report.
So I'll start with some bad news. So when I sent out an update to you all last week about the smart growth aid, I didn't quite realize this, but I've since got it confirmed that $414,000 in reduced state smart growth aid is not just fiscal 26, it's also fiscal 25, the one we're in now. So we're looking at potentially a $414,000 just hole in the budget right now. But I did talk to Senator Rodericks. He did say he's going to try to put it in the Senate budget for that to come back, but that's not going to have any effect on fiscal 26 upcoming.
So this is again funded by the is this being funded by the millionaire's tax too?
No.
Or no, this is
No.
just funded by the regular appropriations.
Yep. And so we're still putting in the budget $246,000 for fiscal 26, but based off kind of the conversations I've had, that sounds like an optimistic number as well. So potentially next year, we might not be looking at 246, it might be 100, just because a lot more towns are coming into the system.
This is an egregious way to behave for the state, in my opinion. We operated in good faith with 40R in
Right.
order to come into compliance. This shouldn't be happening. This is very disappointing. I know
I
other
agree.
members of the board probably feel the same. We were around when the hoopla began about it and how much we really invested in it. And then we continue to invest in it in new units back even in 2019 and 2020. So this is very disappointing to hear.
Yeah, and the odd thing is, so the budget was basically fixed last year with this additional aid of up to 676,000. That really wasn't like a final number, I'm now learning. And so like, the
That's-
budget was saved last year, but it really wasn't. It was
That
like
feels disingenuous.
It does, and so I'm hearing that there's gonna be a hold harmless clause potentially pulled by Senate Ways and Means, and so it might be solved. But either way, I've decided to put in a non-essential spending freeze starting today. So hopefully that saves some money for the rest of the fiscal year.
Madam Chair?
Yes, please.
To clarify again, that amount, for that 400 and some amount, that is, clarify, I missed the beginning part.
So
That's
this-
for this, you're saying they're gonna restore some funding for this year,
For this year,
which could result in a surplus for us.
it would be the
this
best
year.
possible way. It'd be equal to what we thought it was gonna be.
Oh, it's restoring what you thought we originally budgeted for.
Yeah, so,
For this year.
the interim TA and the select board approved the budget of 676,000 for that line. Once a prelim number came out for the cherry sheets, it was 246. That was kind of, that sent the alarm bells around. That was actually fiscal 25 number.
Okay,
So we're losing 414,000 off of the current year.
okay, so this will help us to finish out the balance.
No, the
It's
opposite.
the opposite.
Oh, we're still in the hole for FY 25.
For both.
Oh, okay.
Now we're in the
Oh,
hole
no,
for both.
You know, I understand for next year. Yeah, we have the whole next year, yeah.
Correct, and then there's no guarantee that that money's gonna come back this year. So,
For FY 25.
correct.
Sorry, so we don't know.
We don't know,
There's a lot
yeah.
of, we don't know,
So there's a lot of like bad news coming that I've kind of seen.
probably. Most likely we'll be on the bad side, what I'm hearing as well. Okay.
Yeah. I also, along with Mike Ellis and Paul Nee, I toured Lakeville MMA. It might be 1,800 square feet on paper, but it feels like 600 square feet in person.
Wow.
Quite remarkable what they're able to do over there. And so, I'll be bringing this topic back in a few weeks, for hopefully a resolution. I met with Apex, Radnor Design, Michael Ellis, and Melissa Terracott regarding the Clear Pond Park engineering plan. We're planning on bringing that to a joint meeting on the 19th with the Parks Commission and Select Board to get a first look through of the plan, for feedback and what else we plan on doing with the park.
Madam Chair, I'm not familiar with that. Was it just probably something discussed at a prior board before we remember? Just a quick
Yeah.
30-second?
Yeah,
Summary?
so, the board, probably a year before I started, approved an engineering plan through the federal ARPA allocation. And so they hired Apex to do it. So it's really like a full look of the park and what they want to do with it going forward.
Okay. So that's it, just simply to look at what are the options to improve it, capital improvement, okay. Okay, thank you.
And then the last one, we met with the town of Duxbury last week. Mike might have maybe some more opinions on this too, but it was one of the most candid conversations I've ever been a part of. Usually, town officials are kind of guarded with what their secrets are, but they were pretty open with what their situation was, and it's not that dissimilar to
Yeah,
what we
theirs
have.
failed, correct.
Theirs failed
Yeah.
narrowly, 175 votes. Yep, but they did a lot of recent debt exclusions. Their tax base is like 97% residential. Really no commercial base at all.
Yeah, and their average house value is like $1 million.
Yes, and they really only bring in 1.7 million in new taxes every year. Their new growth is small, and it only comes from millionaires tearing down their houses and building new. So, Yeah, it was good information. They gave us probably 200 pages of information that they gathered, good strategies going forward.
When you say it failed, did it fail at town meeting? Or did it fail at the ballot?
It passed at town meeting 10-1, and then it failed at the ballot by 175
And
votes.
that's what we find all the time where, that's a town meeting, it's like you think you've got it and you think you can move forward with something.
Yep.
And then maybe people come out to vote, they just don't attend town meeting and,
There's an additional 5 or 6 towns going to town meeting tonight that I would say are more like in line with us, like Hanson, Norwell, a couple other ones. So we'll get a good flavor of
yeah.
what the feeling is
And then there's some
economically.
bigger towns going for it, like Milton, I know they're requesting a $9.5 million.
Milton passed.
Milton passed.
They did pass this
Did.
week?
Yep,
It was last week?
last week.
Last week, oh,
Yep.
interesting.
Yeah, that's all I have for tonight, though.
Okay. Thank you kindly. Anyone, anything to add to that?
Yeah, just find us $400,000 this year.
Yeah.
Just-
Working.
Yeah, get on that.
Thank you.
All right, select board meeting minutes of April 14th and April 15th and April 22nd of 2025.
I make a motion to approve the, select board meeting minutes of April 14th, 2025.
Seconded.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none,
Roll call.
Block eye.
Candida, aye.
Carboni, aye.
Hunt eye.
I'll make a motion to approve the select board meeting minutes of April 15th, 2025.
Seconded.
Got a motion and a second, any conversation? Hearing none. Roll call,
Block eye.
Candida, aye.
Carboni, aye.
Hunt eye.
And I'll make a motion to approve the select board meeting minutes of April 22nd, 2025.
Seconded.
Motion and a second, any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I think I do have a mistake on the 22nd on the heading. It's Lakeville Public Library, but it has the police station address.
Ah,
So I need to correct that.
thank you. All right, motion with a correction,
So moved.
do we get a second?
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? Hearing none? Roll
Block eye.
call.
Block eye.
Candido, aye?
Carboni, aye.
Hunt eye.
See, look at all that extra teamwork going on now that you moved seats.
Smooth.
All right, item number 5, discuss and vote on articles to be placed on the June 9th special and annual town meeting warrants. Andrew, you wanna walk us through?
Yeah, we'll go with the short one first, the special town meeting. So we've gone over it before, but Article 1 is really to allocate the rest of the retained earnings for capital purchases at the transfer station.
And this completes our retained earnings and to never follow again because we have switched over to the enterprise
Correct.
format of
Yep.
accounting. Okay. Does anyone have any questions specifically on the items? Or on the dollar values?
Not on item 1.
Okay, Article 1. And
And then Article 2 is unpaid bills.
any questions for anyone?
On Article 2, there'll be some context to what we're voting here because, we're transferring $10,080.82 from free cash and $507 from parts earnings, but to pay for what bills? Usually they're listed.
Yeah, we have a template of an omnibus go now. It's gonna be part of the motions on the final draft.
Okay.
We'll have them all broken out.
Okay, but this
Just
is
waiting to
just for
see if you
tonight.
find some more?
Kind of, yeah, and, as we finalize the motions, we'll build all that in.
Yep.
So I'll make a motion, to place Articles 1 and 2 on the June 9th, 2025 special town meeting warrant.
Seconded.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call.
Plug eye.
Candido, aye.
Carboni, aye?
Hunt, aye.
And then just to be noted, Andrew, I think I mentioned it to you, how we used to do it.
Mhm.
We'd have the article and then we'd have the motion as it's supposed to be that Lil
Yep.
is writing out. But then we'd have any supporting documents as well. So if there was something behind this, just like member Carboni has said,
Yep.
like the listing of what's going on, we just want to make sure we're highly educated on each and every item that's going on there, and then we can answer any questions posed to us.
Yep.
Okay.
Definitely do that.
And then next item.
So the next one is the annual town meeting. So Article 1 is the classic, town budget article.
And we're submitting this as summary items still, like it'll still be like summary department, like how is it being presented to the public? Like how are we gonna show people the budget this time around?
We
We
would
used to
just,
do a complete itemized list back in 2018, and then moved to kind of a summary list of salaries and expenses for each department. And
it's
then-
probably gonna be a summary list. We were talking about maybe switching it up a little bit, but
Yeah, we thought about maybe doing totals by function, so their revenue function, public safety function. Cause how you vote it, kind of handcuffs you as to how you can transfer money throughout the year.
Mhm.
So if we had a shortfall.
And that's why we did summary, because it was, the
Exactly.
transfer lines were easier.
Yeah, so if we had a shortfall in one general government line, and a surplus in another, it would give us the flexibility to move that money throughout the year instead of waiting for a town meeting vote. So Andrew and I have been thinking about maybe, summarizing everything by total salaries, general government, total expenses by general government, public safety, education, and so on. So,
Okay. And then we'll have a separate one with all the individual lines for people with specific questions or comments, so they can hold the line if they want to at town meeting.
yeah, like the one like you normally do, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want to make sure everyone, if anyone has questions, we have answers for them.
Madam Chair, that'll be read by the Finance Committee, Chair?
Usually, right? Yeah, it's a long one.
Mm-hmm.
It won't be me this year.
Yeah, it's a long one. Yeah.
is this something you want to see behind the motion, or would you want us to add on the appendix, or?
Just as one of the handouts that we give.
Appendix.
Yeah, and in the book itself, that we use just to have a reference material. Because invariably, we have one person hold
Sure.
and, having the same thing that we can reference and look really quickly at it
Okay.
will be a benefit. Agreed? Any comment, member Carbone?
No, I think it's good to have it there, and just reference it.
It's good hygiene.
Please see Appendix A.
Yeah.
Sure.
Any comments? Nothing?
Just clearing the throat.
All right,
That's all. Pollen.
I'll allow it. Article 2?
Article 2 is the Parks Enterprise account. Article 3 is the first capital improvement program article, which is funded solely by capital stabilization. And Article 4 is the same, but just funded by free cash. So we wanted to split out by funding source.
Okay. Makes sense.
Article 5 is the classic OPEB
Mm-hmm.
article. Article 6 is the CPA appropriations budget. Article 7 is a specific project that the CPA has chosen to fund, which is,
Have all of that data for us and their vote.
yep, yeah, we have that, yep. Article 8 is an article I've mentioned a few times, which is a compensated absences. So,
A pot.
a pot, it's to start, it could be from retirement, resignation, different things. But we're gonna start the pot at 25,000.
Okay. And on one of the lines, when you're having this, will that also be salary? So we can just make the change from salary to salary? Is that how we're wording this?
I would keep this outside the budget.
Okay.
In my experience, as a free cash article, and then it's open until we decide to close it. It can cross fiscal years, and if we ever have, it's gonna have its own account number, and if we need to charge a salary there, we would directly charge it to that line.
Thank you.
If it's a resignation or retirement or.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions on this?
Article 9 is the, really the enforcement mechanism that we, had not had in there, which is really just adding the building commissioner or police officer, who enforces the bylaw. Article 10, is a local option that we're exercising, which is essentially just an alternative procedure for abandoned funds. Right now, there's kind of this convoluted way of getting money back. This kind of makes it quicker, and the town can kind of do what they want to do. Article 11 is the Harrison Ave confirmatory layout, and this is tied to the Route 79 project. Article 12,
Did I have it wrong? I thought we had taken that one off.
no, that has to be on
Okay.
there, yeah.
No, we took something off.
Yeah, it
Was
wasn't
it
that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
12 is a roadway alteration, layout acceptance for Myrick's Precinct, Harrison, Johnson, and Bedford and Rhode Island Road. That's also tied to the Route 79 project.
If I can, Madam Chair, now, if Article 11 doesn't pass, which I don't understand why it wouldn't, but if it didn't, does that affect Article 12? Okay.
Can't do 12 without 11 passing.
I mean, theoretically, she could do 12, but then you it wouldn't mean anything because Article 11 also has to pass it. If you wanted to come back and do like a special town meeting again, you could do
Article 11,
on its own,
right, because
theoretically.
it's just trying to align, they
Yep.
realized when they were going through their research that the layout for that Harrison, Avenue wasn't accurate, so.
Correct.
This is just correcting an oversight, I believe.
Housekeeping.
Yeah. Article 13 is tied to the ADU definition. Article 14 also changes that ADU definition. Then Article 15 is the biggest article, obviously. KP Law suggested I kind of put all of it in there just for context, and it is tied to the site plan review bylaw.
Okay. Does anyone have any comments specifically on 15?
You know, you could read it 100 times.
I know. I do see some good improvements since the last time I've seen it. Some of the bold portions.
And I believe, you know, the planning board, when they're going through their functions and, you know, they're cycling through, they've made notation of some challenges that they had to try to, you know, tighten up the language a little bit, so. But I'm sure that, you know, they'll be speaking to this on town floor too. So if the residents have questions.
If we could go back to Article 9, I do have concerns still with Article 9 that we're not addressing other issues with the language on the violations and penalties, that we haven't made it broad enough to apply to other things that violations and penalties could have been applicable to. So if you could do a scan of that, because I know it was not only the storage of vehicles. What was the other one?
Yeah,
Just the
there was, I know there were quite a few discussion points regarding this particular, addressing of the bylaw, in that we were trying to blanket it throughout the whole general bylaw,
Yeah.
or general zoning bylaw, so that we
Could we-
wouldn't have to come back.
Yeah, could we do that in this specific one, or is it better for us to create a blanket that goes over all of them? And then we wouldn't have to mention this one in specific, we would make all of bylaws tied to this particular civil violation and penalties.
Yeah, if I can, I was just thinking that even if we wanted to get this one addressed, because this was a
Yep.
priority, this is what, started
It's
it.
on fire, yep.
We are, you know, we've got our ZBRAC back that could actually,
We do, but if we have the ability to put it in, we should. I don't wanna wait for things because then they get missed, for other things that are on fire. If we could just also have language for blanket, violations and penalties, bylaw.
I did a very, very high level, I didn't get into the nitty gritty, but I did see a lot of, it already kind of said building commissioner in a lot of cases, but
It was like, I saw some where it was like not clear, it didn't say who it was going to, and I remember it was related to either junk or cars,
okay,
besides this one.
okay.
If you gave me $100, I still wouldn't remember right now what it is though. But yes, I just worry that some of our language is vague, and that if we do get the opportunity to tighten that up, we should.
do have a question, Madam Chair.
Yes.
On Article 3, number 3, the irrigation well and site work, 75,000.
Yeah, we had had a conversation about,
Yeah, there wasn't like a formal vote to take it out. I'm not necessarily tied to this project, so if that's something the board wants to take out formally, that's fine with me.
I thought it was not something that the police chief.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I thought that's what you had said earlier, that the police chief wasn't set specifically on that 75,000 for the well.
yeah, if this was a $10,000 project, I think it would be more palatable as far
Yeah.
as, but this is a really massive number for a well, which I wouldn't be thinking, and I know site work is
Mm-hmm.
kind of all encompassing, but would the board like to take a vote to keep it in or remove it? Because I thought we had said that we didn't want it at the, not the last week meeting, but the meeting before.
Yeah, it was
It
more
was
like
at the
a,
library.
it was an informal
Yeah,
discussion. I mean, I didn't take it out, but we could.
All right, so if we took it out, is this going to help our situation with 40S, should that not?
No, I mean, I think originally we had this out of free cash, but we changed it to capital stabilization. So it wouldn't really affect
Okay.
that at all, but,
keep 75,000.
keep 75 in the pocket
Yeah.
that we could use for something else down the line. And we could always come back to this project.
Would you like to take
In the
a
future.
formal vote, everyone? We can do a little poll.
What's the vote to
It's
remove?
the vote to remove the irrigation well and site work from Article 3 of the annual town meeting for $75,000 out of capital stabilization. So your vote would be remove the irrigation well and site work, line 3 of Article 3.
Would you like a motion on that?
Motion, yeah, do you wanna make it?
I make a motion that the board remove from Article 3, Section 3, the police irrigation well and site work out of capital stabilization at $75,000.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion is second, any discussion?
And this, just for purposes, this is gonna bring it down to for,
Mm-hmm. All right, roll call.
Plug eye.
Cindy, do I?
Carboni, aye.
Hunt, aye.
Madam Chair, I know, we talked about, we vote the warrant, you know, as a whole, but we've never, voted a recommendation for the articles, individually, but we talked about that previously.
I know it was very important to a former member that we did it individually. If this board so desires, we can do the same thing, where we can individually vote the articles in order for us to have it on record, what we support, or just as a, making sure nothing goes through that we're not solidly aware of.
Now, is that something that we can do on warrant review?
It is,
Okay.
yep, so we would do that at the same time that the finance committee is making their recommendations.
Okay, then I will make a motion, to approve, to place Articles 1 through 15 as presented in the draft warrant article for the annual town meeting for June 9th, 2025.
Could you amend that to say about the blanket warrant item? Or are you interested in doing that, or should we just bring it in another meeting? You know, the,
Right.
for article,
With the possibility of an additional article,
for violations and penalties, civil violations and penalties. Okay,
which would make it 1 through 16.
yes, thank you. I know that's a convoluted motion, sorry, Tracy.
Could you repeat your addition, please? I have with the possibility of an additional article for civil.
Civil violations and penalties,
Thank you.
making it 15
Enforcement.
or 16 articles total.
Madam Chair, the article to allow finance committee membership on EDC, I saw that, I saw the proposed language for it.
Yeah, it came
Right.
through. I didn't want to add it to this
Well,
yet.
We can add later.
We can add it
We can add it anytime.
anytime.
Oh. I know it's gonna be discussed tonight, right? I saw it in the packet,
Yeah, it was in the I think it was in the packet.
saw it somewhere.
I think I sent it by email today, but I did get, it's just an easy way of getting, the Economic Development Committee membership to include a Finance Committee member. We could add that to the warrant. It's up to the board, I suppose. It's really, you're only adding 3 words to the bylaw.
Okay. Can we get that on the next meeting so we can?
And then we can revote this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
as many times as we want, right till the bitter end.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
not after May 19th.
No, not after May
Advertise.
19th. You are correct.
And our next meeting is when?
May 19th.
Oh,
Oh, is it? I thought we had one in between.
Oh.
No.
All right, good to know, Tracy. Thanks for keeping us honest. We have a motion. Can I get a second?
second the motion.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Plug eye.
Candy, do I?
Carboni, aye.
Hunt, aye.
All right, thank you, everybody. We're on our way. Agenda item number 7, discuss and possible vote to allow Red Hand Brewing to open for business on May 20th, 2025, from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. to host Cranberry County Chamber of Commerce. I have a quick question to start off with. Why don't they just have a full week's liquor license? Is there dollars? Is there thresholds?
Nope, it's, as they're a brewery, they have days that they just brew and they're not open to the public.
But does it cost them anything? Does it, like, for liquor license or, like, I'm just
You have to
wondering
be
what.
open to the public the hours that are on your license.
Okay.
And when they brew, they
Not open.
don't want to be open to the public.
Thank you for that, because I was like, why don't we just, make it blanket so they
Nope,
don't
it
have to
was,
come
their
before
request
us?
to have those hours.
Thank you, Tracy, that's great context.
I'll make a motion to approve the request for Red Hand Brewing to open on May 20th from 4 to 9 p.m. to host the Cranberry Country Chamber of Commerce community.
Seconded.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Clock eye.
Candida, aye.
Carboni, aye?
Hunt, aye.
Item number 8, discuss possible vote on designating a select board member to review select board policies. I know that member Plonka had expressed some interest.
Is that on the record?
So I will.
It was on the record.
Yeah, Madam Chair, it's on the record. He said he likes policies.
It's on the
I
record.
think I
Should I-
vaguely recall.
Are you feeling sheepish about that?
No, I'm still interested.
All right.
Well, then I will make it official. I move that we vote to designate Select Board Member Plonka as our member to the Select Board policies.
A second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Clock eye.
Candida.
Carboni, aye.
Hunt, aye.
All your nights. We're filling up that calendar. More to come. All right, discussion and possible vote on Christmas 2025 event. Attached is information regarding a 2025 Lakeville Christmas event and map showing a parade route. This goes back a few months ago. So Andrew, do you want to give kind of how this came about, from last year's Snowman Jubilee? I almost used the term snowballing and I apologize, but yeah, this is getting much bigger. And we'd love to hear more about it and tell the people at home.
Yeah, so after the 2024 Snow Person Jubilee, I think it raised $12,000, I believe, for the animal shelter. So I think I just offhand made a comment that we should have like a bigger event next year and make it just a annual big event. And so Michelle McEachran took me up on it. And so we made it into a big thing. And so we've met with a lot of the public safety, Frank, Arts Council, Historic Commission, Sue Spieler. We didn't have anyone from the parks for that one. But we really just kind of brainstormed a bunch of ideas. One included a parade, bonfire, potentially fireworks. It was just like we tried to pretty much imagine the biggest possible event, and obviously it's going to get scaled down as things become more realistic.
Sounds like Winterfest, remember?
Yeah.
Winterfest was fantastic back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Love to have the newest version of that. I know it was a big hit with the public.
Right.
And it got a lot of people in the same place at once.
Right.
Lakeville, which is tough with no
I
town
know.
center.
So we were trying to imagine where we could have it. We thought it would just kind of be at the Old Town Hall, and maybe come here at the very end of it. We were trying to get like a best possible schedule and get Arts Council involved, and maybe have like I don't want to call it sip and show because I think it's copyrighted now, but something similar to that where they'd have, cause I think Arts Council has like a big,
They do,
big
all that
event.
glitters.
All that glitters. So we thought maybe we could combine 2 or 3 events in one. There is the parade that the fire department does. We thought we could combine that. Maybe make it from like 12 to 4. So, I think we were thinking of just forming like an official committee to do this.
I love it. This is amazing. I would love also for some of it to be part of the communications committee, and have someone from the communications, if not the whole communications committee as part of that.
Right.
But I do want to make sure that the parks plays a very big part in this, because I
yeah.
was concerned without like a lot of context from the parks in here, because if we are using any of the space, we want to make sure that we've done everything we can to incorporate the parks in it. But other than that, I'm very excited about it. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, I was trying to plan as far out as we possibly could because it's such a big event. There's a million things that go along with it. The parade obviously is the biggest wild card.
Yeah.
That was more of an idea than an actual what we were gonna do.
I think a parade is awesome. I think it's a great idea. I was just looking at the route, which I think is a great route. However, if there are people that want to go stand on that route, there's really no place to park, so maybe that, it's just a logistical thing.
Yeah.
You know, I think about middle boroughs where, you know, people do have to walk a certain distance to get to a spot that they can watch the parade, but, there's parking, you know, available, so.
Right.
And sidewalk.
Oh, yeah, there's sidewalks too, but, so that was the only
Big
thing,
fan of
but I
sidewalks.
really like the idea of a, you know, of a parade.
Yeah, we were trying to stay off state routes because they
Yeah.
have this whole big deal with them. Trying to use as less police officers as we can because the detail costs are so high. When you do all that, it kind of makes the parade smaller, which isn't a bad thing. We were thinking maybe come through, obviously Ted Williams can't, maybe once or twice.
And then it's very weather dependent that time of year
Yeah,
as well.
exactly.
Very weather dependent.
Madam Chair? What,
Yes, please.
what is the funding source? Is the intent to be fundraising to offset any expenses?
Fundraising, obviously maybe would be partially the select board gift account if that was something the board would have a favor in. But mostly probably fundraising.
Okay.
I say carry on.
I'm all for it. I would love to hear more updates frequently as it gets bigger, but yeah, even though I know it's more work, but involve all the stakeholders you can.
Right.
And, you know, making sure we add in the communications committee, get the word out after we've decided what's going on, and the parks committee for anything that will be specifically parks related. Fantastic. Anyone like, make a motion? Or do we wanna vote?
I don't necessarily think we need a motion. I was just
No, there-
bringing this to your attention just in case
Yeah.
you hear about it and you say, what's this guy doing, you know?
So, just for
Like
everyone.
we say every day.
Just for everyone's knowledge, when this
Yeah.
comes back, we'll probably be asked, as Andrew referenced, to allocate some money out of the beautification or the gifts and grants or one of the accounts that we have, that we can actually do some of these things out of.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
so going back to the Article 6, is that gonna be tabled until May 19th to vote on the actual final warrants? Because you voted on the articles to be placed, but you didn't actually vote the warrants.
Yes.
Correct.
So table it
It'll
to May
be the
19th.
same, it'll be the same as the finance committee.
Okay.
And that's, Madam Chair, when is that next meeting? April 19th?
May not.
May
May
19th.
19th.
May 19th, okay, right.
But I'm not talking about the votes for you to recommend or whatever. This is the actual final document.
Yes, yes.
So you'll vote on the actual final
Same.
document on the
Yep.
19th.
Yep.
Okay, I just wanna make sure.
We'll make it
Um,
one fell swoop.
The only problem is that I have to put the ad in before May 19th. If you're going to have the entire warrant published, I have to give them a week lead time. It's gotta be advertised, May 22nd. So, if you decide not to spend the large amount of money on putting the entire warrants in the newspaper, then it comes down to a $75 ad, and I can do that, the day after you vote on the warrants. Or I can do that before, because I don't have to put the actual wording in the newspaper. So that might be something you might wanna discuss under new business, because it runs $3,000 to $4,000 for putting the actual warrants in the paper versus $75.
Yeah, and this is not a controversial meeting at all at this time either. It's not something that people are generally gonna be up in arms and want more information. These are all pretty dull as dishwater articles as compared to some years in meetings.
We are gonna be doing an outreach thing. A few towns are starting to do like the meeting guides. We
I
have
did
the-
see that. I saw your inspiration
Yeah.
meeting guide. It's fantastic.
So we've actually almost completed one, so.
And are you gonna have the COA, printed out, or are you gonna go out and have Old Colony or somewhere print
I think we
it
could have COA do it.
Yeah.
I don't wanna do the bond paper, that's just too
It's too much.
much.
Bond paper, too much.
Yeah.
That's extra. All right. Thank you, Tracy. Great. Are we on 10?
We're on 10.
Yes, 10. All right. Vote on posting associate member for the planning board. I do not see anyone from planning board here today, but there was a vote, at town meeting in November of 2022, Article 9, that allowed for the special permitting process to create a position of the associate planning board member. We have not, to my recollection, used that as of yet.
Posted it, yep.
Yeah, so this would be the first posting of an associate member. And this associate member would be weighing in on just special permits.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so just special permits, if someone on the regular board was unable to vote, because those items require a supermajority.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So those items require a supermajority to vote, so needing a supermajority requires more people.
So I'll make a motion, that we post the associate member for the planning board, which would be a term of 1 year.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Seconded.
I have a motion and a second, any discussion?
Madam Chair, so this was approved town meeting 2022, why was it left vacant until now? Planning, was that up to planning board to come back?
That's under the purview of the planning board usually to bring it forward,
So
so.
for whatever
it just
reason, they
didn't-
just,
didn't happen. I know we have, the ZBA also has
Mhm.
associate members, they've been using the associate members.
And conservation as well.
Yeah, and what they, and conservation as well, and what a lot of those associate members do is a little bit more broad than this role specifically. And, what happens is those associate members go on to become full-time members when, you know, positions open up, so. yeah.
thank you.
All right, I have a motion and a second, roll call vote,
One aye.
Andy, do I?
Carboni, aye.
Hunt, aye.
Item 11, we have a vote to reimbursement on Lakeville Lions for mulching of islands. I'm actually gonna turn this over to member Plonka to speak about it.
Yes, I just want to clarify, this is reimbursement for Gary LaRanger for Beaver Tree Works. So he provided the mulch to the town at a significant discount. He provided the mulch, and the Lakeville Lions did the work. So this is simply requesting approval to reimburse for the amount which is the invoice is attached to the packet. It was 10 yards of mulch of $215.94.
All right, so as most people know, the Lions have been working on those islands since I can't remember a time
Long
when
time.
the Lions haven't worked on the islands.
Long time.
For years, they were being paid out of, and I forget her name, but it was Sherry Barron's mom's, account, and she had money for flowers and mulch. I don't know in the last 2 years which account it was coming out of, if it was coming out of beautification or gifts and grants. But usually, we get a heads up ahead of time from the Lions. They let us know, what they're proposing to purchase and the price, and then we reimburse them, because it does make the town look beautiful, and it is something that the members of the town have always expressed a desire to see as a continued practice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, Andrew, take that away.
So I don't know about the last 2 years, but I think historically it comes out of beautification. We have about $460 in it today. I think there's gonna be another donation into that account, so
Great.
we have the funds for it.
All right, so, if the Lions, and I know we have some members today, if the Lions can get out the word to their friends to donate to that account, we can
Sure.
continue to.
Do that?
You know,
Mhm.
do this in perpetuity, as we're just a collection point for gifts and
Mm.
grants. And we hold it for the Lions until the Lions complete the work and
Yeah,
be reimbursed.
and so to clarify, so we do the islands about every 2 years. We didn't do them last year. And so this is the one, that we're not gonna be seeking any more for this year, and probably I foresee nothing next year, so it's about every 2
Every
years.
2 years.
Correct.
All right.
Well, I'll make a motion, let me back up a sec. the Lions didn't pay for this yet.
Correct.
Okay, so then this is gonna be worded a little differently.
Right, because we have the invoice from Beaver Tree
Right,
Works.
so I will make a motion to approve the Beaver Tree, Works invoice number 11114 dated April 30th, 2025 in the amount of $215.94 for the mulch, in the, islands. Okay. Approve the invoice.
Did I get a second?
Seconded.
I got a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Plug eye.
Andy Dorr.
Carboni, aye.
Hunt, aye.
Agenda item 12. Member Carboni, would you like to speak to this item? EDC?
Oh, that's right, I am the person.
You are.
Okay, okay, so, is the charge in here? Cause I'm trying to recall what the,
No.
I guess I'm
it's
gonna
not.
have to have a book of the charges, so I can remember how many, members at large. I can't remember if it was 4 or if it was 3, but anyways, we have 2 members that, at-large members that we voted at our last meeting, and we have in front of us this evening, a letter of interest, to participate in the Economic Development Committee. And did you happen to note, Tracy, did you let, this individual know that we would be discussing this evening?
No, I did not.
Anyways, this is a letter of interest from Brian, Soldavilla, to be appointed as the member at large, to the Economic Development Committee. There's a letter and a resume and the volunteer application attached, and this appointment would be for the term which would expire July 31st, 2023. I think with adding this member, I think we can get started.
Fantastic.
Scheduling our first meeting and then, getting it rolling, so.
Fantastic.
Madam Chair, it's 3 at large and there's 2 associates.
3 at large.
So this would be the third
Associates.
Correct.
Okay,
at large.
very good. Someone like to make a motion?
I can make a motion, to appoint Brian Sotovilla, as the third member at large for the Economic Development Committee with a term to expire July 31st, 2026.
Seconded.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just
No.
thank you, Brian, for
Yes.
putting your letter of interest in. Looking forward to, getting this up and running.
Yes, this would be fantastic. It's been 6 years?
Yep.
6 years, so time to get it rolling. All right, roll call vote.
Plug eye.
Andy Dorr.
Carboni, aye.
Hunt, aye.
Item number 13, subcommittee updates, Old Colony Regional, well, you haven't had anything yet.
We've, no meeting since, yeah, we have a meeting a week from today. That will be attending. No updates.
Okay, and then, are you a member at large there, or?
No, 'cause I was on the finance committee.
All right, so we need to make some changes. So we'll add that on next meeting. All right. Information Technology Advisory Subcommittee. Information should be stricken from there.
Correct.
It's just Technology
Right.
Advisory Subcommittee at this time. Any updates from Andrew? No?
Nothing.
Okay. And then the Communication and Community Outreach Subcommittee.
Okay, I'll pick this one up here. So we have yet another, person interested in joining one of our boards, committees, and commissions. Lisa Johnson, has submitted her letter of interest. Her resume, I believe, is in here as well.
Yes.
And the application, has all been completed to be a member of the Communication and Community Outreach Subcommittee. I think it's very impressive, and I'd like to get this this committee up and running, because that's us.
All right.
So
So
I'll
I'd
make-
like to make a motion.
Sure, I'll make a motion to appoint Lisa Johnson to the Communication and Community Outreach Subcommittee with a term to expire July 31st, 2026.
Can I get a second?
Seconded.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion?
Madam Chair, I've kind of lost the bubble on this one. I think you guys discussed this primarily before we came on board, I think.
The community outreach?
Yeah, just a quick refresh, the membership of the committee.
Yeah,
We need our charges.
Oh.
this is where I need the
Yeah,
charge.
we need our charges.
But I believe it was one select board member, two members at large.
You, right?
Yep. And it would be a person from,
Yeah, I think it was the previous assistant to the TA was the support person on it. But yeah,
we'll just go through Andrew until,
Okay.
you know.
he's hanging
it's
out,
just-
waiting
yeah.
for us, do more stuff to do.
I could request a copy of the charge.
Sure.
We should have a
Or-
nice book of charges, and I know we are no longer in possession of the
Nope.
select board policy book.
We have it.
We have it?
Yeah, I have,
You have it?
Mhm.
Okay. So, I'd love to have everyone have a copy of what's in there.
Ideally,
A digital copy of it. Digital,
have I said that before?
digital copy.
Working on that.
Working on it. All right.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Do we,
We have to close it out.
yeah.
I'm good, thank you.
Oh.
Oh, Plunk eye. What do you want me to say?
You know, I.
Carboni, aye.
Hunt eye.
Excellent. Welcome aboard, Lisa.
So, we have some new business today. And the new business is the resignation of Member Day from the Select Board. I don't have the letter in front of me, but he submitted his letter of resignation on Friday, effective for Friday.
Noontime.
Noontime on Friday. So Member Day has done a fantastic job as a select board member, both on his first term and since he's been here. He's a valuable member of the select board team. He pulls more than his weight on duties and committees. And this committee is going to, or this board is going to have a tough time filling his role at all, even with an election. If Mr. Day is listening, I hope he reconsiders, and we won't take a vote on it tonight. I would like to vote on accepting his resignation next week to give him some room if he would consider. Yeah, I'm hoping for a different outcome. But with that being said, we will have some decisions to make as a board. In the decision, our guiding principles will come from Mass General Law, Chapter 41, Section 10. And that is filling the open role of select board member. So there's been some past practices where we have had a special election to fill the role. It's less onerous on us now that there's more members. Before, when it was a 3-member board, if someone was out sick, the board didn't meet for, a week or two, or, something could be more significantly impactful. Whereas we have a much larger membership now that could absorb some of the tasks, and we could continue to have quorums when necessary. So not for this meeting, but for the 19th, we will be voting on whether or not this board would like to have a special election to fill that role, or if we think that we can manage without filling the role till the next election, the annual town election, April, is it 3rd? 7? April 7th, 2026. So, I didn't want to vote on it for this agenda. We'll wait until put it on the next one. But I know people already know that, Member Day has, decided to leave. So I want to make sure I addressed it in this meeting today.
Madam Chair, it's April 6th.
April 6th. Does anyone have anything they wish to discuss besides that for new business? You guys are all just excited. It's gonna be a short meeting tonight. All right. Andrew, is there anything you'd like to add to what I said? Was there anything incorrect for Mass General Law or anything?
Just that if we were to schedule a special election, town clerk needs 65 days.
Yeah, and
Notice.
do we have a price, what that would be? Is that a
Um,
$13,000 price tag-ish?
I've heard from 10 to 15,000.
All right, okay.
And then some people kind of floated maybe combining it with the Old Colony special election in November, but we're not thinking it's possible.
Yeah,
There's multiple ballots there and it's just not
that would be
clean.
kind of, that's already
Cause they're covering they're covering the expenses. I don't think they would cover that, so we would still be
on the hook for.
on the hook for it.
Yeah. All right,
Yep.
okay, moving on, old business. Discuss and possible vote on proposed charge for ZBRAC, and appoint a select board member to serve on the committee. Next page is the charge for ZBRAC. Does everyone have that?
We made some updates in our last meeting, that's why it's in front of us for adoption, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
I think did we move it down? Was it? July 21st, one planning board member, appeals board member, board of health, conservation member, one at-large member. Appointments will be for 1-year terms, expire on July 31st. Does anyone have any amendments or anything they'd like to make to the charge, or is the charge good as stands? Okay,
And I guess I'll make a motion, to adopt the charge for the zoning bylaw review advisory committee as presented.
okay, I have a motion, and second part of that, we should probably do it in one fell swoop or two. Let me do it in two. Let's do one part and approve that. So can I get a second?
I second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Plug eye.
Candido,
Carboni, aye?
Hunt, aye.
and the second portion is to appoint a select board member to serve on the committee.
Well,
Volunteer time?
Madam Chair, I would volunteer for that
Fantastic.
because it's not policies nor is it finance.
Yep, it's,
Yep.
it's calling your name.
It is.
It's calling your name.
I'm happy to make it official.
Let's do it.
I would like to, I'll make a motion to appoint, member Paul Hunt to the zoning bylaw review advisory committee with a term to expire July 31st, 2026.
Second. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Plug eye.
Candido, aye.
Carboni, aye?
Hunt, aye.
Nicely done.
And at this point, this is when we would notify the other boards, committees, and commissions where they have representation.
Yes.
To designate their nominated person.
Especially seeing as it's been defunct for so long, most of the people wouldn't know the impact, so. Okay. Tracy, can you send out? Thank you, I appreciate it. And next item on old business is, and I don't have anything in front of me, if I got an email, I didn't see it, the history of the Clear Pond Park water line.
We got some information late from former member Day. I'm not ready to really talk about it tonight, but I am speaking with the city of Taunton
Okay.
this week on the water line at the 3 requests from last week.
Okay, can we table this till the
19th. Yeah, so we can have a full discussion on everything.
Fantastic. How about an update on the town planner role and filling the role?
Yeah, so we have one applicant that is qualified to interview, so we're gonna be interviewing this person probably next week. But like any position, we're still kind of envisioning what we wanna do long term.
Yeah, because in the last few meetings, we've had a lot of questions on if we're committed to filling the role as that,
Mhm.
or if we wanna split it sometime with support plus special projects.
Right.
And what does that scenario look at? So
Right.
we'll be depending on you to keep us updated.
Yeah, so we'll interview this person, then I think we'll shift or.
Have a little reevaluation point.
Reevaluation, yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, I appreciate that, it's a thoughtful way to move forward. Stipend for planning department, clerk.
Yes, so, as you know, we're still discussing this as well. I think it's gonna come finally to a resolution on May 19th as well.
Excellent,
Hate to kick it down the road again, but I think we found a solution. We had a meeting, select board member Candido, Nate Darling, myself and Lacey discussed what we think would be a good thing for it. It was just Friday afternoon and we didn't wanna turn around too quick and
yeah,
make an error. So, I think the 19th would be the best to come to the board with a solution on that.
perfect. And my unfavorite topic, the open space plan. Where are we?
So it's finally completed. I'll just do the shout outs now. So obviously the big people that had the biggest hand in this were Kathy Murray, Tracy Craig McGee, Joan Morton had a big hand, and Lisa Cordero. There's probably others that I'm missing, Serpid being one of them. But we're sending it out to the chairs of all the boards and committees that are interested in this, as well as DCR, Serpid. Yeah, we send DCR the hard copy. They'll get all their comments, edits, they'll send them back to us. We make those and then we run with it.
No, so for the people at home, the open space plan is a key to unlock, grants for the town. We haven't been able to go for some of the conservation, grants or anything for like parks or anything for, since 2022 when it expired. So we will do a much better job at the next go round. It's every 7 years. I hope it's on everyone's calendar now, because it needs to be completed on time. So we don't get ourselves in a situation where there might be a grant that we could go to defray some of the costs of operating any type of recreation or parks or even some open space with some grant money and not be able to do it because we have not had our ducks in a row. So I appreciate everyone's effort into it, and it was a learning experience for sure.
There's not a lot of competition in a lot of the grants that this opens up, so I think we'll be feasting on a lot, hopefully.
Right, jump right into number 15. 16th is announced the next select board meeting dates. The next regularly scheduled select board meeting is May 19th, 2025 at 5:45 p.m. at the police station. I would like it to be on everyone's mind that we probably want to, when we're selecting meeting dates and calendarizing everything in the future, I would like us to look town-wide at the calendarization on scheduling and room assignment, especially as we are gonna have a new location being available to us potentially with the historic town hall as a meeting space. So I think the people of the town would like to have their select board in a consistent space though, and I would like to see the police station dedicated to the select board just for that reason, to be able to find us when they need to, because there's been times where we've been to the library and then I have calls from people, you guys didn't meet tonight, or you guys weren't there. So bringing that consistency will be something that we should strive for all our meetings, and that's not just for our board, it's for every board. We should try to find a home for everyone. It's something applicable to the size of their membership, plus you know, how oft attended their meetings are, because there's some that
you couldn't, you know, give away tickets to the Stones and people still wouldn't show up. It's a small base that show up, and then there's some that have a lot of people a lot of the time. So making sure we're properly allocating our meeting space should be a nice project for someone. Hopefully when we get, some additional staff members on, in your office, it would be a nice, starter project.
Definitely.
No correspondence. And is there a need to meet in executive session for the school committee, or do we?
Yeah, I have no update.
No update. All right, so we do not need to go into executive session. We will most likely have to put that on May 19th, for executive session. And with that, unless there's anything anyone else would like to discuss, a motion.
So moved to adjourn at 6:56.
Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Motion and a second.
Clock eye.
Candida, aye.
Carboni, aye.
Hunt eye.
Very good. See, Brian didn't know what he was missing.